I just got this box in the mail. It's an auction win that I had. It's about 40 pounds of digital cameras, lenses, point and shoot cameras, film cameras, camcorders, and there's some wild stuff in here. So join me in this ride as we're gonna open this box and go through it and figure out if there's some gems amongst all of this crazy stuff. This was the main reason why I bought this entire lot, was this single lens out of that 40-pound box. I'm so disappointed in you, Canon. How could you make such a poor quality camera? How? I didn't even know Nikon made camcorders. I don't think I've ever seen a high 8 tape Nikon camcorder, but apparently they did. Ooh, hard to show. It's got a lot of packing material on it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and set the box on the ground and we'll get started. All right, let's get started with the first camera. This is a metal-bodied construction point-and-shoot digital camera, 4 megapixels, that Pentax released in 2002, and the MSRP on this camera was $699. So this was not a cheap camera back in the day, and they prided themselves on being able to print out up to 8x10 pictures with this camera. And I've sold a lot of Pentax Optios in this vintage, about 20 years old, and most of them use compact flash cards like this one. I will pull out a battery and we'll see if we can test this. It looks to be in pretty good physical shape for 20 plus years old. All right, got a replacement battery here. Oh, and I paid $235 for this box of cameras. So our target for this box is probably gonna be in the $600 range to recoup my investment and make a little bit of profit. And we'll see if we get there. I know this box has some weird stuff in it, but it also has some real nice stuff. So I think we're gonna have to wade through some pretty iffy cameras, get to see some unusual stuff in this business. And for those of you that are new here, hi, my name's Kevin. I've been buying and selling used digital cameras for 10 plus years now, and I've been doing it full time for 7 years. And I've sold over 20,000 point and shoot cameras, DSLR cameras, lenses, camcorders during that period. So I'm pretty familiar with a lot of models of cameras. I'm more of a jack of all trades than hyper specialized in specific models. So just put the camera battery in. It does power on. That's nice. And I don't see any LCD issues either. Very noisy lens. So let's see. Oh boy. But it does appear to be working fine. Oh, there we go. So just took a picture and showing that the battery's dead. So I need to find a newly charged battery. But this camera does appear to be working fine. There is some wear on the lettering on the front. And that's common with age. It could have been in a bag and just kind of shuffled around and lost a little bit of wear there. Or had some wear there. But otherwise it's in pretty good shape apart from the lens noise issue. This camera doesn't have a ton of value. If you were to pair it with a charger and a working compact flash memory card, value on this camera is going to be in the $30, $40 range. So not much value, but I'll take a working camera out of the gate for sure. So next camera is going to be a Samsung ES80 Digicam. And this little guy's a 5x optical zoom, probably 10 or 12 megapixels. And this was part of Samsung's budget line of point-and-shoot cameras that were made in the 2008 to 2011 timeframe. It's a Samsung ES80, and this uses the Samsung BP70 battery, which I have. I'll go grab one real quick. Go ahead and slide it in, and we'll see if it powers on. It does power on. Let's see if the zoom works. Zoom appears to be working fine. And let's go ahead and try to test the camera and see if it works. Okay, I'm set in auto mode and the flash fires. So this camera appears to be in good working condition. I'll get the lens cleaned up a little bit. And the value of this camera in the used market in the United States is gonna be in the $40 range if you pair it with a charger. So again, not a whole lot of value, but the working success rate on older Samsung digital cameras in this vintage isn't super high. So I'd say probably 50-50 to get a working camera if you're buying it untested. And all of these cameras are untested. All right, next up, we have a case. And let's see what we got in the case. Hitachi. Uh-oh. What do we have in the case? I'm assuming it's going to be Hitachi. And Hitachi used to make quite a few camcorders. Mini DV, DVD, and maybe even some high 8 camcorders. Yeah, definitely high 8 camcorders. Okay, I'm going to keep all this stuff together because if it's working, then we'll be able to kit it all out and it'll add a little bit of value to the final price. We've got a USB cable, an AV cable, and of course the original bag. So put that on the ground. And I've actually found a Hitachi battery that ought to work fine. And I've just pulled it out from the little charging area. So we're going to flip it to the little red movie camera here. And you'll see that red light power on. So we've got the red light on. Let's see if the LCD turns on. And we'll see. Yeah, that looks good so far. And these are small DVD-R. They're quite a bit smaller than a regular size DVD. Regular size movie DVD anyway. Unfortunately, the mini DVD camcorders don't have nearly as much value as their tape-based brothers. In mini DV and high 8 tapes, working units of those, depending on the model and the brand, are going to be in the 75 to 150 plus range, whereas one of these cameras in fully working condition, okay, we're recording now, is going to be more in the, depending on the brand, $25 to $100 at the high-end range. So we're about 10 seconds into our recording here. And I'll go ahead and stop. And we're just playing it back in the unit here as opposed to hooking it up to anything. So we've got our recording right there. So this is recorded media that I just took, and this unit has now been tested and is working. I haven't tested all the ports, of course, but physically this looks really, really nice. Okay, so in good working condition, actually this is probably in very good working condition. It doesn't look like it was used much, if at all. With the accessories and some blank tape and some blank media that we have here. The model number for this Hitachi is going to be the DZGX5080A. And there's a wide variety of Hitachi camcorders on the market. None of them have a whole lot of value, but this particular model is probably, with the bundle, which adds some value, you're looking at in the $45–50 range for this model. And that's great because functionality-wise, often when you get into this 20-year-old plus range, you're going to have a lot of issues with a variety of problems. All right, next up. Oh, it just came out of the case here. Got a Polaroid case and a Polaroid camera. And this is a Polaroid Spectra camera, and this uses a different format than the standard Polaroid instant film cameras. It uses Polaroid Spectra film, which is, as far as I'm aware, is not super common to find, although this unit does appear to be in quite good shape physically. Unfortunately, the value for the older Polaroid Spectras just isn't there. So I will go ahead and either donate this locally or allot it up with some other instant film cameras and sell it as a lot. But I'm not going to assign any value here. Standalone value, you're looking at probably in the $10 range, maybe 15 tops. And that's if it's tested. Next up, yeah, I saw this in the picture. We've got a Canon, at least a box anyway. I haven't actually seen the lens yet. There's a box of a Canon 55 to 250 millimeter lens, STM, which I've seen in this video, in these videos a few times. I've actually, nope, not an STM. Okay, well, let's stop talking about the STM then, since it's not an STM. It is a 55 to 250, but it's the standard original version, not even the 55 to 250 IS2. It's the regular 55 to 250 IS. However, physically it appears to be in quite good shape. And optically, I'm not seeing any issues. Glass looks great. So the only thing to test here is going to be autofocus with this lens. So I'm going to pull a Canon DSLR camera body and we'll test the autofocus and make sure that's working on this lens. That's kind of a bummer. The STM version, the newest model, which is what the box was, adds quite a bit of value. So we're looking at just a regular old Rebel XT as a tester body here. Line up the white squares, turn on the body, and we're just going to test this and make sure the autofocus is working. Take a couple pictures. A little bit noisy when it's hunting, but autofocus is working properly. And the value of this lens, the regular Canon 55mm IS lens, is going to be in the $80 to $85 range. If it had been the actual STM lens, value with the box would have been closer to the $150 to $160 range. Everything has been working so far, which we don't expect with untested lots. All right. Oop. Next up, we have at least a box for a Nikon AF 35 to 70mm. It even has the styrofoam still inside. Okay. Oh no. So let's take a look. We've got a bent outer lens housing. As you can see there, that is going to be a problem. I'm going to try to work on that one a little bit later. But maybe was dropped at some point with that extended and then I got stuck. So I'm not going to assign any value to this. Because this requires a Nikon body with a built-in motor to be able to autofocus. It's not a super in-demand lens, but with the box and everything, had it been in great shape, it still would have had around a $40 value, maybe a little bit more. Unfortunately, with it having this major problem, I'm not going to assign any value to this lens. All right, next up. Oh, we've got a really kind of old and a little beat up Canon Powershot A510 digital camera. And this guy has got some wear. So, I don't know. Let's see. AA tray actually looks good. So, normally you may see some corrosion here from batteries being left inside. Let's see what the expiration date is on these Duracells. 2018, so expiration date of about 6 years ago. And this is very common, very, very common model. You see a lot of the Canon PowerShot A series in the used market. And the values on the lower end range are going to be anywhere from $30 to the higher end range, like the A650, you're looking at 150 plus, depending on condition. It does power on. How's the lens look? Oh, lens cover's stuck. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, lens cover's open. So a lot of times you can just barely nudge that with your finger and it'll open. Sometimes from a period of inactivity, those lens covers get kind of stuck for a little bit, but once you use them for a little bit, they will start working properly. Wow, I'm actually very surprised this camera appears to be working. Let's go ahead and throw a memory card in there. Let's try taking a picture. Flash fires. There's some wear on the buttons. The LCD has wear. But otherwise appears to be in what I would say is fair working condition. The Canon PowerShot A510 in fair working condition is going to have a value of about $35. What do we got in here? Oh, another Polaroid. So we've got a Polaroid Coolcam. I believe these were released probably in the 90s, 2000s. Polaroid instant film camera. And it uses 600 film. A lot of these were actually made in the UK. Some of them were made in the United States as you get a little bit older. And there's a little bit of a collectible market for these as well as some practical use. There's a really large refurbisher that actually buys the majority of what I sell and then fixes them up and pairs them with some new film and then resells them for even more. I guess I'm just a supplier to someone else. It's kind of weird. I would expect to get in the $30 to $35 range with free shipping on this camera. So again, not a whole lot of value once you factor in $8 to $10 to ship it out minus 12% eBay fees. This isn't something you're going to make a living selling, but if it comes along with other stuff you're trying to get, like if you're trying to build a collection of cameras and you could end up actually selling a few of what you buy and keeping the ones that you want, it's not a bad way to get a collection going. I have way too much stuff here to consider adding to my collection, so all of this stuff I'm trying to find a new home. One more Polaroid and another Polaroid. Polaroid Sun 600. We got a Polaroid Sun 600 and a Polaroid One Step. This one is actually made in the USA. This older Polaroid Sun 600 is made in the USA. And this Polaroid 600, or this Polaroid One Step, I believe is probably made in China. Value is going to be about the same between both. You're looking at about $30 a piece on these older Polaroid instant film cameras. Okay, we have got a Olympus D595, pretty old 5 megapixel 3x optical zoom Digicam. And this guy came out probably in the 2004, 2005 range. AA powered, but the AA tray quite corroded and clearly has had a lot of wear. Internal also shows wear, so I'll just go ahead and clean it a little bit and try it with some new AA's and see if we can get it working. Wow, did not expect it to power on. So we've got the menu there, and we're actually showing the screen. Oh, flash fires too. Wow, already took a picture. That's unexpected. Lens kind of noisy, but lens does move in and out. I believe this uses a XD card for memory. And it does appear to be in functioning condition. The lens glass actually looks pretty good. So there's not a ton of value in this, especially because it does use XD, which is a more or less an obsolete memory card format. And the cards themselves will sell for about what this camera is worth, which is about, in its current condition, about 25 bucks. Okay, I saw this in the picture. And this is a Fujifilm Fujinon 55 to 200 millimeter zoom lens. And this was the main reason why I bought this entire lot, was this single lens out of that 40-pound box. And it is untested, so we don't know if it works, but I happen to have a Fujifilm body that I will be able to test this with. Let's go ahead and get the lens glass cleaned up a little bit and examine the internal optics to see if it looks clean from haze and mold and mildew. And what I want to do with that is actually use a light. I've got a really bright light right next to me here, and I'm just able to look through it and examine it internally to see if we have any problem areas. I do see one potential spot. Oh, that's on the rear glass. So I'm going to go ahead and get a microfiber cloth. We'll get the glass cleaned up and then we'll check. Okay, we got it cleaned up pretty good. About as good as I'm able to get right now. And what I'm seeing now is general wear along the body. And unfortunately, maybe because there's no lens cap on this lens, there is a small mark on 3 areas of the lens. It shouldn't affect the optical quality and the actual image of the pictures taken, but we'll go ahead and test that as well. There's also a small ding on the outer part of the lens rim here. It's just cosmetic. Okay, let's go ahead and put it on the body and we will see if it works. So I'm going to flip OIS to on, and we're in auto, just for testing purposes. Fixes to the body good. Let's go ahead and turn the camera on. Camera turns on. Okay. Yeah, autofocus is looking really good. I'm not seeing any issues with the image quality that is affected by the tiny little mark on the glass. So that's also good news. So we're looking at a value of the lens. I would probably list it in the 325 range. And that's largely because of some general wear, a little bit of wear on the lens rim, as well as a couple of marks on the lens glass. In excellent mint condition with a box, you're looking at a value of this in the 400, 425 range. So condition definitely matters in terms of value of both lenses as well as cameras. We had $325 coming into this lens in projected value, and with this lens, we just doubled that to $650. And had that lens not been working at all, like autofocus was broken or had some lens issues like the other one, you'd be looking at probably a value in the parts category on a website like eBay of in the $100 to $150 range. Okay, next camera. We have a Canon Powershot SX110, and we've got some immediate things to note. We've got a USB port cover door missing, as you can see there. And more importantly, the lens isn't shutting. So that means potentially a lens error right off the bat, or we've got another issue with debris or some issue with potentially like a dent or a ding that is inhibiting the lens cover from actually closing properly. So let's put some AA's in there and take a look. This has some Amazon rechargeable batteries in it, as well as a memory card. The battery tray actually looks good. Okay, so this camera is not powering on with any new batteries that I put in. So clearly has some work to be done if we wanted to get it into working condition. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the parts section for now. I'm not gonna assign any value to it. Sorry, Canon Powershot. Actually, you should be apologizing to me, Canon Powershot, not the other way around. Okay, next camera. Fisher-Price. A Kodak Fisher-Price camera. That's cool. There might be a little bit of value in the kind of nostalgic toy market for a camera like this. Made and patented 1984. So not much practical use, but I might actually keep this one to put on the shelf. It's kind of cool. We got a big old bag here. Canon. And it is an old Canon camcorder, Canon ES90 8mm tape camcorder. First thing I notice is it's missing the top piece there. That is part of the tape eject mechanism, potentially broken. So given that there's no other accessories here, I'm just gonna go ahead and put that in the parts section for now and see if I can get it into working condition later. This does have a little bit of value if it's in good working condition with all accessories. You're looking at 50 to 75 on the Canon ES90, which is pretty crazy. But again, that needs to be tested, and this is a long way from getting into working condition, unfortunately. Another blast from the past. This thing's gotta be pretty old. Made in Germany. I don't think we've had a whole lot of vintage, like true vintage cameras on this channel. This might be a first. A little out of my depth here. That should be working. Oh, there we go. And it says, it has someone's address, West Germany. So probably made in the 1950s, I would assume. 1960s. And this is an Agfa model with a 45mm f2.8 lens. Yeah, it says made in Germany on the bottom. So I do come across quite a bit of older Kodak, like Brownie stuff, and occasionally get in some older Russian type equipment. I've sold a fair amount of these and similar models in the past. I don't have the time to test these, so I generally sell them as is untested. And an as is untested vintage camera from the 1950s, 60s, you're looking at a value of this model, not a whole lot, 25, 30 bucks. All right, we got a couple small cameras here. Let's see what we got. Casio XLM. Okay, uses the Casio NP60 battery, and actually I think I have some of those. I have a charged one here. It does have a memory card already in there, 8 gig memory card. Green light comes on. And we haven't seen too many Casios on the channel either. And the Casio is a brand that whenever I worked at a camera store and I was a buyer there and buying for the stores, I used to buy directly from Casio. And maybe this model actually probably came out in the same time frame, like 15 years ago when I was working there. 12 megapixel Digicam. Let's get the date set and see if we can take a picture. Casio never achieved great status within the camera world. They do have some models now that are kind of pretty well regarded. But a lot of their more inexpensive point-and-shoot cameras are generally okay quality, but nothing to write home about. A little bit of lens noise. Let's see if the flash works. Flash does work. This is the Casio EX-Z90, and I've sold this model a fair amount in the past, as well as the EX-Z77 and other Casio models. If you pair this with a memory card, which it comes with, as well as a charger, you're looking at a value in fine working condition with this, which this is because the LCD has some wear, of probably around $45, $50. Next up, we've got a Nikon Coolpix S50, and it looks like the battery door might have some problems. Woo! So this is pretty common for this particular battery tray style. You can see there's these metal hoops that kind of extend there. And for whatever reason, the latch that's on the end there doesn't connect properly and breaks off. Got a charged battery in there. We're just gonna see if it works. You can always at least put tape on there and at least get it into like a functional condition. No power when you power it on, and this is a charged battery. So I'll go ahead and put this in the parts section and see if I can get this into working condition. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. But if this camera, the Nikon Coolpix S50, had been in working condition, value on this is in the $50, $60 range in good working condition. Okay, next camera. Next camera, we've got a Sony DSC W230. Looks to be in really nice physical condition. Really nice physical condition. This uses Sony's NP-BG1 battery. This looks really nice. Does power on. Lens moves out. Lens looks good. Gosh, this is looking real nice. This Sony DSC W230. Lens is noisy, common for this model. It's just something that I always try to point out in my listings whenever I sell these. And just so the buyer is aware. Could alternatively take a video if you're so inclined. I only am a little bit too lazy to do that. Flash fires, camera takes a good picture, and this guy is in good working condition. Value of this 5 years ago was $40, and today, this camera with a charger and a Memory Stick Pro Duo, you're looking at a value of probably in the $80 to $100 range for the Sony DSC W230. What do we got next? Got something in a little bag here. What is this? Looks like an old film camera. Canon. Oh, Canon. You've let me down so much with your quality. I'm so disappointed in you, Canon. How could you make such a poor quality camera? How? This is not a Canon. This is a fake. A counterfeit, if you will. And this is a piece of junk. Canon and Sony are the two most faked cameras out there, and you see them in not only film cameras, DSLR cameras, whatever this is, as well as lenses sometimes. Just something you have to be careful of, but it's so easy to spot. Clearly a fake, just a piece of junk. I'm sorry that my real Canons had to see that fake Canon. Oh, nice. Nikon Coolpix S6800. And this thing has been on a ride. I'm assuming it's from someone on social media hyping up a camera, but This is a camera that was selling for $80 to $100 5 years ago and is now upwards of $200. And I've seen the S6900 go for $300 to $500 recently. That's just absolute craziness. Oh, it powers on. I was about to go get a new battery, but it already powers on. Lens glass looks good. Just get it cleaned up a little bit. This guy definitely appears to be in at least pretty good physical condition. So let's test the lens out. Okay, lens moves in, out. Flash fires, and camera takes a good picture. So there we go. This is in good working condition. You pair it with a memory card and a charger, and value on this is going to be, I would say, now crazy 2024 in the $150 to $200 range for this camera. All right, next up. What is this? Nikon Action 8 VN750 camcorder with a Sony battery on it. I didn't even know Nikon made camcorders. I don't think I've ever seen a high 8 tape Nikon camcorder, but apparently they did. I don't have a charger for this, but physically it appears to be in okay shape. There is a tape that I can see that's already inside of it, so I have no way of testing this currently. But untested, normally these sell for $20, $25, and I just looked it up, and in good working condition, these sell for in the $60 to $80 range, so not a ton of value. I'm not going to assign any value for this for now, but I just learned something new. Nikon made camcorders. Okay, two cameras left. And we've got a Canon AE1 program and a roll of film, which expired in June of 2019. Actually sold some Ilford black and white film last week or the week before, a 3-pack of expired film for around 20 bucks. So value, even expired, there's a little bit of value, maybe $7 or $8. Let's see, we've got a Canon AE1 program with a Canon FD 50mm 1.8 portrait lens. And I've sold these in the past. I generally tend to sell these untested. I don't have any batteries. The battery goes right here to test these. Let's see if there's any film. Nope, no film inside. So it looks to be in pretty decent physical condition. Normally what I do for these, oh, the push button. Oh. Okay, so there is an issue on the lens. Normally there's a push button right here that allows you to push down and eject the lens, but it's missing. I don't think that would actually affect the performance of the lens in terms of aperture or anything like that. But normally what I would do is sell the lens separately, and this lens sells for in good condition in the $45 range, and the body untested sells for $40 to $50. If this was fully tested, film tested, and in good working condition, normally the value on this is $175 to $200 in the US marketplace. But as is right now with the lens button issue and not actually testing the body, I would assign a value of this of around $80. We are down to the last camera. That last camera put us over $1,000 in projected value. Once you factor in shipping costs, etc., eBay fees, packaging materials, all that stuff, you'd be looking at a potential net of around $800 compared to the $235 buy price. So over $500 in projected profit so far. And that is a better box than we've had in a while. So that's awesome to see. This is the last camera. Nikon Coolpix S7000. And this is a camera that is very closely related to that Nikon S6000 that we just saw that was in good working condition. In fact, it uses the same battery. And this camera is 16 megapixels and it has a 20x optical zoom, which is pretty good for a really compact point and shoot like this. So let's stick the battery out, throw in a new battery. Comes with a little case too. Uses the Nikon ENL19 battery. And let's turn it on and see if it works. Green light powers on, and the menu turns on. Lens moves out. Lens glass looks great, actually. A little bit noisy, but within expectations. So you can see the lens is moving good. Let's go ahead and move it to an auto mode and take a picture real quick. Let's set to auto. Flash fires, focus works well. This camera actually, I would say, is in very good condition, and if you pair it with a charger and a memory card, you're looking at a value of the Nikon Coolpix S7000 of around $150. That is a great camera to end on. That puts us over a little over $1,200 in projected value from this buy. And that is the kind of thing that helps keep me going and making buys like this and keeping to make videos. So I really appreciate you watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down there for more content. And check out this video over here, which is another unboxing that I recently did. This was kind of a crazy unboxing. We had fake counterfeit cameras. We had Nikon camcorders, who knew? We had some really nice Nikon compact point and shoot cameras. We had some camcorders. We had quite a few instant film cameras. It was a wide variety of stuff. So I like it. Like to see it. Get out there and have some fun.